Hey guys, Paul from paulskarts here. I just wanted to make this quick little video before I box up this thing. This is a 3-inch 76 millimeter billet special alloy stroker crank Hemi head build. This is one bad mother bear engine. You know, with the way the Hemi heads flow, being able to get the lift out of them is usually the problem. Well, we've been able to really get a system down and a cam and valve relief combination and piston that's allowed us to really push the envelopes of this Hemi engine. And as you can see, it's all in the charcoal, the block, the head, and the carb. It's a really nice build. Billet valve cover, big valve head, got some big monster valves, PVL flywheel on it. It's gonna have the billet PVL flywheel with the fins, because this is a gas engine. So I guess that one's getting drop shipped straight from the manufacturer here. This is the one that the customer had purchased. I just got it sitting on there for now. Originally he was going to build a Predator and use the Predator stock crank. And then once he suggested he wanted to go to the 76 millimeter bore, and we were using the Tillotson block, and his build kind of evolved into this behemoth. This gentleman lives in Puerto Rico, and I do believe that this is going to be the most powerful engine in Puerto Rico. You know, everything about this thing just screams horsepower and is done right. This gentleman asked a lot of questions during the build, which usually aggravate me, but the way he asked them just showed he was very intelligent. You know, he really wanted to get the best engine he could. He was patient. You know, when I recommended a change to fit his build better, he might have asked why, and we went back and forth, but you know, he ended up always choosing the right reasons based on, you know, what was best for the build, and the build came out absolutely amazing. Has the billet side cover, head studs, E3 spark plug I sell, third circuit on the carburetor with the velocity stack, big carb, welded intake tube on the head, PVL ignition system. You know, it just really can't get any better than this. You know, I get that question a lot: what's better, a Hemi or a non-Hemi engine? And there's really no answer to that. The real answer is the best engine is the engine that you want, and that engine taken to its extreme and pushed to the limits in every aspect of that engine. Meaning, you know, bore straightness, the bore angle to the crank, the hone grit matched to the piston rings for proper break-in. You know, cylinder head flow and velocity matched to engine's requirements. Carburetor sized to the right size for the engine. The ignition system, PVL, is just a standalone great digital ignition system. You don't have to put so much time in it because it doesn't drop off, so you actually make a little bit of power down low and you don't give up anything on the top. You know, the head studs that I use are a little bit softer, which might sound weird, than other companies use. But if you call ARP and ask them for their torque on their head studs, they'll say 60 foot-pounds. And a head stud has to be stretched. That's what a stud does. It has to stretch. And if you don't stretch the stud, then you might just be using a bolt. And the studs I use stretch at 18 foot-pounds. Full stretch. So shopped around for those, and those were on the site. Those were on sale last month. That sale is over. But you know, when it comes to building, you know, the Hemi or the non-Hemi, as long as that engine is, you don't leave anything on the table. You know, if you have, you know, a bore and a stroke and a camshaft you're using with a certain amount of duration on the camshaft, you know, that cam has a requirement of a compression ratio. So you do the math, figure out the compression ratio, figure out the size of the chamber on the head has to be the combustion chamber on the head. Size it to that. Once you have the compression ratio where you want it, that's when, you know, you just build from there. I mean, everything just has to be matched. So you match that compression ratio. In a big bore stroker, you know, you have a little bit of play. In a smaller engine like a stock bore, stock stroke GX200 or Predator 212, when you start getting high durations on that camshaft and you need that compression ratio, there's only two ways you can go. You can either weld the head or mill the head. When you mill the head, you're limiting the amount of valve lift you can go. When you weld the head, you know, that's, you know, more expensive route. You know, so the bigger bore stroker engines, you know, it's pretty easy to get that compression ratio to where you need it, without having to mill the head down. So that way, what you do there is you go the next step, which is after you have your compression ratio right, you maximize your valve lift, and you want to push it to the max. You know, you don't want to, you know, clay up your engine and have 160 thousandths piston to valve clearance, because that means you left 80 thousandths of lift on the table. You want to basically know your setup, know your minimum requirements, and have them all to the minimum, which means maximizing your cam for your specific build. And if the builder has done his job and put everything as big and as perfectly in line and as smooth of a finish internally and clean, and maximize the cam, the duration, the lift, the center lines, and built the cylinder head for the flow and compression requirements of the camshaft and bottom end, and, you know, the carb can support all that with flow, I mean, you know, the build just can't get better than 100% optimized. So this is one heck of a Hemi engine, completely optimized for this build, this camshaft, this size bore, this size stroke, for the requirements of this engine. The cam is perfect, and the head and the carb support it perfectly. This thing I am extremely proud of. I am very, very proud of this engine, and I know it's going to be one of the best engines out there. You know, if you start getting any more crazy than this, you just run into, you know, problems with that engine. Just, you know, no longevity, no life left in it. So these 3-inch bores are very touchy. They have to be done right. 3-inch strokers, you're really getting there. I've done them bigger than that. I've done them badder ass than that, but that you're really taking away from any type of reliability when you go over a 3-inch bore. Still to this day, 72 stroker is my favorite engine. But this is one bad mother bear. This guy is going to dominate, and I wish him all the luck. This is a very awesome build. I'll give you guys another look at it. We even have the PCV valves run. So it's a really nice looking engine. It's got all the right insides and out. And, you know, I'm really proud of this one, and I'm sure you know, that this thing is going to be one of the best engines out there. The patient, the customer type, and the builder, you know, just all worked out perfectly in this one, and this is the result. This is a perfect engine in my book. So I'm Paul. This is Paul's Karts. If you guys have any questions or comments, you know, feel free to leave them below, or give me a text at 781-492-7358, or visit the website paulskarts.com, Karts with a K, or send me an email at paulskarts@gmail.com. So this is the big bore stroker Hemi build a lot of people have been asking for. I'm glad I finally got to build one. I'll probably snap some pictures of this and put it on the site. I will tell you, this is going to be probably the most expensive engine I sell on the site, because of the fact that you need to cut those valve reliefs, and it's a lot more work to build this engine. But I'll list this on the site. I'll figure out a price to sell this engine at. And as always, guys, God bless and have a good day. Paul from Paul's Karts.